Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge.
Live from a shipping container deep below Wuhan lab with boxes of expired PCR tests waiting for the next pandemic. This is This Week in Conspiracy. My name is Justin.
And I'm Brad.
And like always on the ones and zeros, we got little shitty ass dirtball Ashley. How was your week, Ashley?
It wasn't bad. How was yours?
Oh, it was all right. We had a nice Father's Day.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah, we did. We did have a good Father's
Yeah,
Day.
we went down to the lake and went for a boat ride. And Ashley looked like a lobster because she's pale.
How'd she look like a lobster? She had like a three-piece suit on in the water. A ball cap, sunglasses. She looked like the FBI agent protecting a president.
She had gloves on, too. So her fingertips got burned.
I did have all that on.
Hey, I understand. You
Yeah,
don't want
I
to
get
get
it.
burned.
Like, I'm
And I stayed in the shade of the boat.
yeah, no,
Like,
up
I wouldn't get
underneath it.
She would jump in the water and swim underneath the boat and just sit there.
Hey, funny thing about PCR tests. So, earlier today, I saw an article come up on Yahoo News, and it was, I guess there was a big class action lawsuit against Subway and their tuna fish hoagies.
Jared.
Yeah, not Jared. So, someone was suing Subway saying that there's no tuna in their tuna fish hoagies. It's a concoction of stuff, right? So, they pulled, 61 feet or something like that of Subway hoagies from 3 different locations.
Wow.
Right? And guess what they used to test to make sure that if it was tuna or not?
PCR.
PCR test. And they said they found no tuna in it.
Hey, listen, I heard it.
Dude, no tuna.
Yeah, that's good.
In a tuna fish sandwich.
I heard a chef one time on a radio show talk about that Subway, and he said everything, like all the meat, is turkey. It just has chemicals to make it ham, and roast beef.
Yeah.
And it's just all turkey because that's the cheapest you can get. Now, I don't know about the roast beef.
I would think turkey's expensive, dude. When you buy it at like the grocery store, it's the most expensive.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what he said. I'm going off of a chef. You know, I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, I don't know what's in there.
But
I think it's like a snot rag of meat when they slap it on the bread, dude. It looks so gross.
Yeah,
I won't eat there.
I don't like eating there either. Let's get some of our stuff out here. So we got Instagram. This Week in Conspiracy on Instagram. Check it out. We put stuff up. We put at least 4 or 5 things up a day.
Heart it, share it.
Yeah. Like it, share it, DM us if you have anything you want to hear, if you have a question or whatever, and you follow us. I'll even follow you back. That's how nice I am.
Yeah.
Then we got a email, thisweekinconspiracy@gmail. Nailed it, actually.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
And we have a Facebook, This Week in Conspiracy. It's also the same thing. We put our articles up on there. And some comments, some funny, some just regular news articles of the news we're going to talk about for the week. And then we have our Twitter, which I'll never remember.
_conspiracy.
How many followers do we have now, Ashley? 4?
Probably like 4.
You don't check it? Did you forget the passwords again?
No, I have. I think I have that written down.
Oh, all right.
And then we have, if you go on Apple, and I know it's on Spotify and Apple, if you go onto the details of the podcast, there's a button you can hit for Anchor and record a question. We can record a voice memo. You can get on there and tell us we stink or leave a question and we'll answer it.
We've had 2 good ones.
Yeah, we had, I think, 2 or 3.
Yeah, we've had. Yeah, well, we're not going to let the third one out of the bag quite yet.
Oh, okay. Well,
He left us a message. I think we're going to hang on to it for the right occasion.
right. Well, I'd also like to thank our sponsor, Mickey O'Shea's Irish Vodka.
Mickey O'Shea's, baby. I'm already drinking one.
Ashley has a nice tall glass of it.
She's turning redder by the minute.
What's their tagline, Ashley?
The best thing to happen to potatoes since the famine.
What a great tagline.
That is great.
But it's a great vodka. Look for it anywhere that vodka is sold, any liquor store.
And if they don't have it, ask for it. Because I know
you got to ask.
when you're in a Commonwealth and you have to go to an ABC or a Wines and Spirits, sometimes you have to special request it.
Yeah, once you start asking for it, the more people ask.
They'll try to find it too if they don't have it in stock.
Right, and then they'll start getting it.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
So,
all right, so Mickey O'Shea's.
Oh, Irish vodka.
Irish vodka.
It's the official vodka of This Week in Conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so after that, we're going to go right into it here. Guess who's our favorite woman's back? Our favorite doctor.
Punch face.
Punch face is back. Lena Wen.
We need a sound effect of like a Mike Tyson's punch out.
But she was on I think it was a PBS show.
Were they talking like this?
Yeah, it was either. It might have been. What's the other one? PBS, and there's the other one.
NPR.
NPR. It might have been that, but she was pushing her new book, and she was talking about the Delta variant and how it's coming to America and everything. So I got a couple clips here.
Well, I always found funny about these news anchors and politicians that always have these books. How is it that during this deadly pandemic, and you are a leading doctor? I mean, you're the go-to on all these networks.
Yeah, because she worked for the WHO, and she was all kinds of things.
Yeah. So how do you have time to sit down and type a book?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, books take years to research and actually get the facts right. But these dudes will like pop a book like every 6 months.
I couldn't even read a book in that way.
I mean, the governor of New York wrote a leadership book during the pandemic. So that's a great leader there. He's writing books while controlling your livelihood. So I don't know. Whatever. Let's play punch face.
He wrote it before he even knew the outcome. So he writes the book on how great of a leader is, and he's not even over yet.
Well, maybe he was writing it while all your aunts and uncles and grandparents were dying in freaking old age homes because he was pushing them back in there.
Well, he's a great American, the meatball. Yeah. Okay, we'll go right here and play her clip.
Well, now the Delta variant has actually supplanted the Alpha variant, and 99% plus of all the variants that you came are now the Delta variant. There are some studies that show that the Delta variant, in addition to being 60% more transmissible than the Alpha variant, is also potentially more deadly. It's twice as likely in some studies to cause hospitalizations. We've also seen this Delta variant take over in places like parts of Russia, and now it's in the U.S. and is doubling quite rapidly here. The CDC director has predicted this week that the Delta variant could very well become the dominant variant here in the U.S., and it poses a particular threat to those who are unvaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you're well protected, but those who are unvaccinated are at high risk. And if you have something that's more contagious, that means that those activities that you may have gotten away with before, and you thought, well, I'm probably not going to get coronavirus with these activities, now something that's more transmissible means that you're more likely to get it and more likely to become severely ill.
Now, how come every time she talks, she always talks about controlling what you're going to do?
I know.
And,
what?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you
well,
got
it. Also,
she does.
Yes. And then she always, this virus, for everything I know about viruses, which is very little, but I've been reading about it for the last year and a half. It always seems to me when I read literature about it, viruses, yes, they get more contagious, but they also get weaker.
Right.
They don't kill you
right.
as much.
Well, it's funny that she's flat out lying.
Right.
Because we literally, I sent you that article this week from Zero Hedge.
Right.
Where the WHO doctor said that the vaccines exhibit reduced efficacy against the Delta variant, which means it doesn't matter if you have the vaccine because it's not as good as it was against the other ones. And we've talked about this before in our other episodes. That one doctor, I don't remember his name, but he was saying, slow down on these vaccines because it's going to start to mutate to get around the early vaccination because we rushed this vaccine. So now, guess what? It went from because you notice how she said the Alpha variant, which isn't the original Wuhan. That's a couple down the road.
Right, because the Alpha variant was after the wild strains.
Yes. So now we have the Alpha. Now it's into the Delta. So between the time that they produced and manufactured and got a vaccine out, it's already mutated 4 to 5 times, at least.
Right.
So how is your vaccine that you produce for let's just say, like, for instance, if the vaccine that they produced 4 years ago for the flu, isn't effective for this year's strain of flu because it's changing.
It's changing.
You know why it's changing? Because its whole goal, virus's goal in their life, is to find a host, get into the host, and survive.
Right.
They don't want to kill the host. So if they get into a host that has a vaccine that's supposed to work, then it's going to go, hey, we better change something here so that we get around this vaccine.
Right. No, I heard a doctor say, like as an example, like it's like a baby snake. A baby snake bites you, the venom's twice as much as a adult snake because the adult snake wants to stay venom. So if it has to attack again,
Right.
it
It knows how to adjust its venom.
Right. That's what he that was his analogy of it. So that, that's what you just said. So, but I have another clip here of her, and she is. Every time I hit the play button, you start punching the wall.
I punch Ashley.
Yeah, I'll play here.
Absolutely. There is this fallacy that somehow coronavirus is not a problem for children, that kids can get it, they'll be mildly symptomatic, if at all. Somehow they won't pass it on even, or some people even think that kids are immune, quote, from coronavirus, and it's not a problem. And I just wanted to address this by giving your readers and your viewers a thought experiment. Imagine if this disease did not affect any adults, but only afflicted children.
I like to give her a thought experiment. How about if this vaccine gives you heart inflammation?
No, that's what it does.
Yeah.
I would think, like, let me give you a thought. Let's think of it like this. If, let's say that the news quit telling you that there was this deadly virus floating around the air, would you go on with your life? Or would you be like that moron lady that I saw getting gas today, who got out of her car and put her mask on to pump gas when nobody was around?
Yeah.
I tried to talk like the doctor. I figure if I enunciate certain points of my each word, that I would probably sound a little smarter.
Well, you sent
No, didn't work.
you sent an article over, I think, from Zero Hedge. It was either today or yesterday about how the vaccine, the CDC, was it the CDC or WHO? The WHO, I think, said that you shouldn't give this vaccine to children.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this article right here, where after they said not to give it to kids, they went back in and edited the page to make it fit like this idiot's narrative.
I feel like, why? Like, where's the fall of the science when they're in the Pacific article? Their statement says that they're still in testing and that we should wait to test it. But the Pfizer vaccine is what was the word? It wasn't safe, but it was substantial, or I can't remember.
I don't remember.
But it was a word like it'll do. It'll do, like the Pfizer vaccine will do.
Well, after that, like after people started posting that the WHO was like, don't vaccinate under the age of 12, they went in, the WHO went in and literally removed the headline that said children should not be vaccinated for the moment.
Right.
So they're pushing this on your kids, man.
That's, question mark, why?
Right. Well, what was that that show clip that's on Netflix, or is it Amazon?
I think it was Amazon Prime from
Utopia.
Yeah, it has John Cusack in it.
John Cusack and Rainn Wilson. Is it Rainn Wilson from The Office?
Yeah, I think that's his name.
Where, like, they figure out that they created this fake like the narrative was pushed that there was this virus going around, and they created a vaccine. And what's the dude say? What's the vaccine do?
Oh, it makes everybody infertile.
Mm-hmm.
That was his
for
plan.
3 generations.
For 3 generations, he said. At the end, he says it will reduce populations after 3 years down to 500 million.
Well, I think in that one it's a billion.
Yeah,
he said if there's 1.7 billion people, you can live however you want. Right. But if there's 10 billion, you can't.
Well, they say, how much evil do you have to do the right thing?
Right.
That was like one of the statements.
So when you listen to that guy, like when you listen to that clip, you're like, this is literally what they tell us about global warming.
Well, let's say
we're going to kill the planet. The planet's going to die.
When was that film, Brad?
It filmed in 2018, I think.
Well, that's odd. Like they knew
it was coming.
Like it was pre-scripted.
Yeah, they probably filmed that show in 2018. They released it in 2020.
Right.
So normally when something bad like this happens, this huge, deadly pandemic, why would you release a TV show that is literally the exact format of this huge, deadly pandemic?
Well, I think
that kills less than 1% of the population.
I think I saw the head writers were Fauci and Gates.
And probably her punch face.
Well, this next clip, I think, gets around to what they're really after here. So I'll play the clip.
Your life. That's what they're after.
Because I think what's gone on is we keep saying, well, children tend to not get as severely ill as adults, which is a true statement. But just because that's the case doesn't mean that we should not pay attention to coronavirus and the impact on children. As you mentioned and cited, there are children who have died tragically from coronavirus. They've been hospitalized. There are also kids who are living with long-term side effects, many of which we don't even fully understand. For example, there was just a preprint paper that came out this week from the UK, a study looking at the effect of COVID-19 on people's brains. They looked at adult brains, not kids' brains, but they found that there is a loss of gray matter, even in people who had mild COVID-19. Now, we don't know the significance of this. We don't know whether this happens in children, but all I'm saying is there are potential long-term effects in children as well.
Well, that wasn't the clip I was thinking it was, but this is the first time I've ever heard anything about the brain matter, the dark matter in your brain.
Well, let's back up a second to where she says, there are kids who've died from this.
Yeah.
Well, hey, guess what? Kids die every day.
Yeah.
Statistically, the kids probably have a better chance of dying from car wrecks or being hit by a car
Baseball
or drowning in my swimming pool than they do of dying from COVID. Statistically speaking, the numbers for the children are very low.
I think they total of 400 kids out.
Yeah, and some studies are even showing that kids act as a buffer.
Right.
They're not and we talked about this a couple episodes ago.
That woman doctor down in the pediatric doctor in Texas said about it.
Yeah, where they're acting as a buffer, where they're stopping it.
They don't spread it.
And I mean, here's the deal: if kids were dying, all the kids in Florida would be dead because they don't wear masks or anything at school, and they've been in school. And Texas would be the same way.
Right.
South Dakota would be the same because from the beginning, South Dakota didn't do anything. No mask mandate, no school shutdown. So I mean, if anything, South Dakota should show that everybody's dead.
Yeah.
There's nobody living in South Dakota.
Well, every little kid would be dead. Every time you turn around, a kid's hand's in his mouth. And then touching, and then they're touching each other's hands, and then they're both sticking each other's hands in their mouth.
Yeah, I mean, I literally watched my kid pick up a piece of food off the floor the other day and eat it.
Yeah.
She was like, 5-second rule, not in a restaurant.
Well, when my kids were little, when they're little in daycare, you walk in and you literally see them taking another kid's hand and sticking it in their mouth.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? When they're real little. And
when they're little, when they're 10, they still do that.
Yeah. You still have to, when my daughter gets nervous sometimes, she sticks her hand in her mouth.
Yeah. Does she put it in her armpit first, like that old Saturday Night Live clip?
It smells it.
Yeah.
Superstar.
Punch face again.
All this is to say that it's important for us to continue to emphasize protection for children. Not to say that kids shouldn't go to school or shouldn't socialize, but rather that we should be developing safe and effective vaccines for children.
That was the whole point of the whole thing. They're pushing the issue of getting children back.
Yeah, well, here's why. Because 50% of adults in America are like, you know what, I ain't taking it.
Right.
There's something fishy about it. Maybe I'll give it a few years. I'm seeing articles that are, I mean, we talked about this last week where they flat out lied to us the entire time.
Right.
So now they want us to believe them. But yeah, now they want your kids.
Well, they figure that the 50% of the people that aren't getting vaccinated, the other people that already got vaccinated that were scared, now if they're allowed to give it to their kids, they will.
Yeah, right.
That's
so they'll get up to 70 or 80%.
Right, that's what they want. So they can hit their magic number and Biden can go out and shoot sparklers off or whatever.
Yeah, for the 4th of July.
Because no one else ever went outside because they listened to the government like a bunch of
morons.
Yeah. Now, here's the way. I just want to play this last clip. It has really nothing to do with what we just talked about.
Oh, okay.
But just shows
her. Dawn Johnson?
No, it's the same. It's still punch face. But this shows her thought process and the people that think like her.
Yeah.
Ron Johnson.
Are any employers that are considering it and may not want to do a requirement? One other way to do this is to say you have an option. Either you go through twice weekly surveillance testing, or you have proof of vaccination. I think that is a way to not make this a requirement in the sense that there is an easy opt-out, but at the same time, that opt-out is actually pretty burdensome to have to go through twice weekly testing, and it may be a nudge for individuals who are on the fence to get vaccinated.
So she wants, basically she said to employers, this is a way so it's not mandatory to get a vaccine to come to work, so you have to get tested
twice a week.
Or then, I mean, obviously she thought she'd get away, she'd say every day.
Right.
But she said, make it hard, brutal, whatever that word
Right,
was.
make it brutal to go to work every day.
And then they force
it's already brutal.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to go to work.
I couldn't even hear what she said. I thought it was some
slave planet.
Brutal. She talks so punchable.
Like, here's the deal. If your employer is allowed to give you a invasive medical test twice a week, leave your job. Go somewhere else. Like, I mean, the government's handing out money. Isn't this the time for, like, painters and stuff to, like, go paint? If you want to, like, become a painter or an artist, that's what the left always says. So maybe that's the time to start doing that.
Computer programming. Coder.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, go from the coal mines to computer programmer. Like, Biden thinks you can do that. We'll shut down the mines and we'll make you a computer programmer on a windmill.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, that you said that. Every young person out there, if you're not afraid to work, now's the time to go get a skilled labor job or go to school to learn to be a skilled laborer.
Because you're going to be the boss.
Because
in about 3 months.
Yeah. Well, in 10 years, like you said before, I think skilled laborers are going to be paid. They're going to be like doctors.
Yeah. Well, I think, too, on a side note, like, employers who want to push this thing to make it, like, inconvenient, how would you feel if your employee showed up at your home twice a week and made it inconvenient for you to take a nap, go to bed, like shine big spotlights in your door or in your windows or jumped up and down with the bullhorn? Because guess what? That's what dudes are going to do. Like, I'm going to do that. My employer does that. I'm going to stand outside my employer's door with a bullhorn and scream at the top of my lungs at 2 a.m. And when the cops come, I'm going to leave. And then I'm going to come back on the public road and scream some more later on. Like, or I'll just drive by with a bullhorn. I'll drive up the road, turn around, come back down the road. I'll make it real inconvenient for you to go to bed 2 times a week.
Ding dong, punch in the face.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're pushing us to.
Right. No, they want everybody. They're trying to do any means. They're trying to cut you off from any freedom you have.
Right. And like I've already said, we're getting to the point. Like, if my kid comes home and is like, "Oh, they gave me the vaccine today," guess what? Everybody involved in that is probably getting assassinated. Like, I'll probably shoot them in the middle of the night.
Allegedly.
If you force something into my kid's body without my knowledge, it's time. It's go time. Because at that point, you're a slave anyway. You may as well start fighting. What's that? What were we just talking about? That shirt that I said that I liked. George Washington.
Yeah.
He's like, me and my boys would be dropping bodies already.
Yeah.
That's what we should be doing. We should be dropping bodies.
They already did that for less. Because they taxed their tea.
Yeah, but you got to remember when you that's garbage. Because when you go read, if you actually go study that,
right,
you see that the king started to remove a lot of those things.
Oh, I know.
And they just wanted something different, is what it was.
They wanted to be free because they didn't have no representation whatsoever.
No, you're right.
No, like the king would make the rule, and they lived the whole way across the ocean.
Yeah, it takes 6 months,
but they would have to follow that rule, and then they had soldiers staying at their houses. Mm-hmm. How would you like?
I mean, how far away are we from that though? We're not that far.
No,
we're not that far.
No, people let it happen.
Oh yeah, sissies.
Hey, I like a soldier hanging around.
Yeah, me too. If I get his
make you feel safe.
But talking about the vaccine, since we're talking about the vaccine, I listened to a show, and he's a leftist. His name's Jimmy Dore. You ever hear Jimmy Dore?
I've heard the name. I don't listen to.
You probably heard him on like Tinfoil Hat.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
He's on there a couple times.
Yeah.
He's a lefty, but he's not. I don't agree nothing politically, but he's not a liar.
Right.
Like, he hates war. Like, he'll tell you if he found out he didn't like If he would agree, like if I had changed it, I could change his mind. He would say that.
Right.
He's not a liar. He just believes what he believes.
He believes what he believes, but if you can show him with facts, does he?
He would probably change his mind. So he's like, but this week.
Oh, because he's the big minimum wage guy, isn't he?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he thinks the government should set
He's
what
a
prices
progressive.
are.
He's a real big progressive, but he also will attack left. Like he don't like Biden. He hates Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just, you don't agree with his politics. Some of them are because he's not left enough.
Right.
But some of them is because he's a war criminal.
Right.
Same with Trump. He didn't like some of the things he did. Some of the things he did like what he did. Mm-hmm. He's an honest person, that's what I thought. But he's also funny. But he's on a show, and he got the second shot, I believe, in Moderna. And it's been like 3 months, and he's still having major health issues.
Oh, I think we have a side story on that. Maybe if somebody wants to share.
Okay. Oh,
is that mine?
You don't have to, because I mean,
no, it's fine.
But let's do his.
I'll play the clip. This is so like people that think that we're making this up. This is a guy that's on the left.
Yeah.
And he explains why no one's saying anything.
Right.
Too.
Well, before you do that, I mean, there was the dude from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller. What was that dude's name?
Ben Stein.
Ben Stein. He come out and was like, "You better do your research before you get this because it's smashed."
Wait.
He said it killed me, but he was like, "It didn't kill me, but it was rough."
He also was a writer for Nixon.
Yeah.
So he,
And then there was Eric Clapton.
Right, Eric Clapton.
And then he just recently come out a second time and was like, "None of my friends talk to me anymore because I went against the narrative."
Right. All he said was, I took the second shot. I couldn't play a guitar.
I didn't think I was ever going to play again.
Yeah, he couldn't pick up a guitar. And he said, I still have effects from I'm tired. And this was like 6 months after he took it, I believe. Right. And he did just recently say, he's like, none of my friends talk to me no more. Well, him and Van Morrison recorded an album together.
Yeah.
That's like the only
Didn't he? No, we'll go. Go ahead. Never mind.
Okay. I'll play the clip here.
I'm still suffering from the effects of the COVID vaccine. I had the Moderna, and I had my second shot on April 17th. So now it's June, 9th today? So I have stiff neck. My stiff neck is not going away. It's sore. I still have flu-like symptoms. So meaning body aches, joint pains, and tiredness that comes in waves. So when I wake up in the morning, I feel mostly normal. But then in about an hour or two, I start feeling, how you feel body aches. I start feeling it in my knees when I go up and down the stairs. My neck, always, when I wake up, my neck is always. And so now I'm working with, by the way, I went to my primary physician. She says, I'm treating 5 people who have exactly like you. One of them is a neurologist, one of them is a nurse, and they were afraid to talk about their symptoms because they didn't want to be stigmatized and ostracized, because that's the culture we're living in now. You can't step out. Now, if I criticize Dr. Fauci, they'll call me a Trumper. So that's the world we're living in. My cardiologist, when I went in, I told him I wanted to check my heart, make sure I didn't have inflammation in my heart, which I go in tomorrow for the follow-up, find out. And I told him about, I'm being this from the vaccine. I've been having, and he just shook his head. He goes, man, I'm seeing lots of bad reactions to this vaccine. Everybody. Like that. That's what my cardiologist said. I then have another doctor who's on the forefront of treating people like me who are having side effects from the vaccine. Now, what is this going on 2 months after? Has not stopped. And he tells me there's thousands and thousands of people like me.
So he goes to a specialist that's treating, there's just a specialist now treating vaccines.
Just COVID vaccine patients.
Yeah, and why?
Could you imagine feeling like that every day for 2 months?
Yeah.
Where you get up, you
just
feel
like
half decent, and then you feel like you have the flu.
But he has no reason to lie about that. You know what I mean? And this is all over the place. I hear it all the time from people. Mm-hmm. Like people will be like, "Oh, my uncle had it or whatever, and now he's been sick for like 3 weeks." And
well, like I said, we have a little inside knowledge here from one of our show hosts. She would talk on her own microphone, but something cable broke.
Well, let's talk about how you fixed that cable.
Yeah, I mashed it with a pair of pliers. Thanks, Votech.
And duct tape.
Yesterday I went to upload the episode. I went to my buddy's house, and I was talking to her, and she had mentioned how her sister had, gotten the vaccine. She has an autoimmune disease. It's not lupus, but whatever it is. Where's the Nazi?
It's not. It's autoimmune disease.
Oh, is that okay?
That's a new bell ringer
Okay.
because I'm gonna tell you right now, if you have autoimmune disease or disorder or anything like that, stay away from this thing.
Allegedly.
So she was saying how her sister had been feeling sick for a few weeks. She'll get bad lower back pain, almost as if you're going to get your period, but it's not because she's a little bit older.
I don't know what that's like.
Well, lower
Period.
back. She said she finally went to her doctor and had been arguing with him and said, what's wrong? What's going on? And they ran some tests. She was supposed to have a teleconference at 3. They called her and canceled and said, be in tomorrow at 8 a.m. They want to talk to you. So, that's always fun.
Yeah. If your doctor tells you we're not having a teleconference, you need to be face-to-face for this information, that's shitty.
That's
yeah.
not good.
She goes in and they basically said, there's 2 things. Either your autoimmune disease has kicked into overdrive since you've gotten this vaccine, or there is a chance, albeit 50%, but still, that you have a brand new autoimmune disease since you've gotten that vaccine. And now she has to she has to schedule with a specialist in Cleveland. So, this is ongoing, but as of right now, either it kicked it into overdrive or she's got a brand new one now.
No.
So,
Go ahead.
well, I was going to say, okay, so that's 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the odds that it kicked it into overdrive and caused a new one?
I don't know.
It could be both.
I'm not Scott
Well,
Steiner. I can't do that.
But here's the thing, everything we've listened to, these frontline doctors that come out and talked, these, kook doctors that have been actually treating COVID patients have all talked about the autoimmune stuff. Yep. When they tried it with the SARS vaccine, when they were trying to push this mRNA vaccine for SARS, and they tried to push it with the bird flu, I think, or whatever the other one was. That's what they found in the animal testing, that it caused autoimmune issues and then killed them.
That's what we talked about too. That doctor said, I forget his name, Michael Bentley or something from Canada.
Michael Bublé.
Bublé, yeah. He's from Canada.
Do they all have Bubbles up there in Canada? Like Bublé and that other dude.
But he said that they thought it was going to stay in the muscle. And it is not staying in the muscle. It's getting in the blood and causing autoimmune problems and inflammation in the heart. Inflammation and that spike protein is getting all your organs.
Right.
So this would be pissing everybody off because not one doctor, Fauci and all these other jerks, didn't say anything about, hey, maybe if you have an autoimmune disease, they were telling people, if you have that, get it.
Yeah, it's better.
Yes.
Well, not magically now, your immune system is only half immune. But if you get the vaccine, you're doubly immune.
But the beauty of being in charge of the narrative of these people is they can say whatever, and if this happens, they'll just blame it on Delta. Or blame it on me and you for not getting vaccinated.
Right. Here's what's going to happen. I see it. You can see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Just like I saw this whole thing coming here back at, 15, 16, 17 months ago. The writing's on the wall. Here's what they're going to do because they're already laying it out. They're building the Delta variant. Now, when you walk around, this isn't our flu season. This is our normal go about your daily business season. Things are starting to open up. I was listening to the Yankees baseball game yesterday, and they were like, hey, we had a news release. I think July 4th weekend, that they're opening up 100% capacity. You do not need to prove you're vaccinated. No masks. Mm-hmm. Yep, and I'm like, dude, this is what's coming. Because when you start listening to, NPR and stuff, they're like, Delta, 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 Delta. And I'm not talking about airlines. It's the Delta, Delta, Delta.
Yeah, no. Whenever you hear, especially famous people, like comedians or actors and stuff, when they start pushing things that we've been talking about for weeks, like the Well, like Jon Stewart was on the Late Show talking about how it comes from. He knew that it come from a lab. He's making all these jokes about how it came from a lab.
Yeah.
That to me sounds like they're switching the narrative.
Right.
Because he is a mouthpiece for the left. Yeah.
Well,
for the government.
I'm not even saying left anymore.
It's just whatever that machine is.
Right.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with left and right. The right's on the same. They're playing the same game.
Right. I still to this day quote Jesse the Body Ventura. I heard him on probably Alex Jones right after he was done being the governor of Minnesota, where he was like, "Look, this is like the WWF politics." He said, "On camera, when the cameras are rolling and we're in front of people, we body slam each other. We're at each other's throat." He goes, "When it's all over, they walk down the road to the local steakhouse and they're all sitting down giggling and laughing, high-fiving each other.
Yeah,
they're all buddies."
Yeah,
Look how many pictures you see of Obama hanging out with George Bush and the Clintons, and they're all like, "Hey,
they're all
hi."
part of the same crime family.
Yeah, well, that's just the thing. Like, I always said, like, where's the manhood gone in D.C.? Because, like, if Pelosi come out, like, you know, like, she'll be
Hey,
like,
please pick a man because you're going to say you're going to punch him in the face.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, if Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, I don't give a shit if you're the Speaker of the House. It's just, the only reason you're the Speaker of the House is because you're the most senior person there,
Right.
pretty much, and because your party won enough gerrymandered votes to get it. I mean, look at the way these states are cut up for the House and the Senate.
Yeah,
Why does, like, the middle of my city, like, one half the city goes to one congressman, the other? Why not just make a county for county? I've always said, why not, like, the whole voting thing, it's all gerrymandered and it's all garbage, dude. Like, I don't even know why we do it anymore.
it's like the school district lines.
Yeah. Right. Like, they cut it up here.
There's a little swath that goes up here because there's white people there.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to go to that school.
Right. So, damn, I even lost what I was talking about.
You're talking about...
Oh, Pelosi. Like, I've heard her call people, like, racist and they're idiots and they're this and they're that. Like, if I'm down there and she says that about me, like, I'm not, like, high-fiving her, shaking her hand. Like, I'm standing on the floor and they're censoring me, dude, because I'm going to be like, you know what? I'd punch you right in the face. You want to call me a racist? I'm about to show you who's racist when I beat the shit out of you.
Why don't you just say, you say it again, I'll just grab the next Democrat senator next to me and beat the hell out of him.
Yeah. I'll show you what racism's all about or whatever.
Yeah.
Dude, whatever you want to call me. You want to call me a bigot? I'll beat you up. You want, like, that's what's lost.
Well, they used to do that.
Yeah, I know, and they beat people up with like a cane.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Like one guy,
They literally, we had a president who got in a duel, dude. Pistol duel with another dude over freaking being called out.
I don't think it was a president. It was Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah,
And Aaron
he
Burr.
was a president. They were both president. They weren't presidents at the time.
I don't think
Burr
either,
wasn't president.
I don't think either one of them were president. I don't think Alexander Hamilton was president.
Oh, Brad's going to Google it.
I think he was like the Treasury, Secretary of the Treasury.
Hamilton's on the $10 bill.
He wasn't president, too.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I'm not.
Burr wasn't, though. Not that I
Oh,
can
Burr-
remember.
no, you're
Burr-
right.
Burr-
You're right.
Burr-
Oh!
Hamilton wasn't. You're right.
All of that schooling?
I was just paying attention to trivia.
What was it? What was the other dude's name?
Aaron Burr. Remember the peanut butter?
Aaron.
Remember the peanut butter commercial? He's calling up. He's at the museum for it, and he has a peanut butter sandwich.
Burr was a vice president.
Okay,
He was a vice
But
president.
he's eating the peanut butter sandwich, and there's a radio show he's listening to. And it's like, who was the man that had a duel with Alexander Hamilton? He calls up and says he has peanut butter.
They can't talk. Yeah.
Because they were saying how thick their peanut butter was.
Honestly, when you look back over some of the presidents,
Yes.
you're like, who was this dude? I don't remember ever
Like
being
Andrew
taught that guy.
Jackson.
Grover
Not
Cleveland.
Andrew Jackson. Not Grover Cleveland. There was some really, like, when you look at him, you're like,
Herbert
nah.
Hoover.
Hoovervilles.
Taft.
Oh, Taft, yeah.
He's the biggest one. He was huge.
They had it.
They make his own tub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
I
put
think
a
he
bowling
was
alley
Taft. Was Taft the first one with air conditioning? I think.
Maybe.
At the
He,
White House.
he had
Smart
he
man.
had to get a tub specially put in because he was too big.
No,
That-
see,
he
here's
put
the
a
thing.
bowling alley.
Here's the funny thing. The guys that we're talking about are the ones you remember. I'm talking about
Polk.
no,
Oh.
because you know Polk.
Oh, I'm sorry, but I also
I
tried to memorize every president, so.
How about Millard Fillmore?
Yeah.
Right? Or hold on, let me
Grover
scroll.
Cleveland.
Rutherford B. Hayes.
Hayes.
Oh, everyone knows. Non-consecutive.
Chester Arthur.
I'm a big behavior.
Chester Arthur. Do you remember the Everett Larder? Wonder what he did.
No, why?
Probably exactly what the Constitution said.
No.
That's why we don't know him.
No, I remember him from Die Hard 3 with a Vengeance. Chester A. Arthur. He was the current president before he was president. All right. I forget where we're even at now, Brad. We're off in presidents.
Wow, I mean, we had standing up, being a man in D.C.
Oh, okay.
And just saying how, like, here's one. Franklin Pierce.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't pretend like you know these
No,
dudes.
I said I forgot about. I mean, I don't know anything he did or anything, but
Wasn't Pierce? He came
I just
after.
remember it from like in 7th grade. We're like memorize every president. And you have to
He came after Millard
Fillmore.
Fillmore. Yeah.
Getting back on COVID. How about the 4 British Airway employees that died that were like middle-aged men?
Oh no! Well, airline pilots die in succession all the time. Did you know that?
Yeah. You know, because
I mean, especially if you're flying out of Malaysia because you end up dead. Plane crash.
well, I mean,
Missing.
I've flown a couple times, and you see pilots on you see pilots, but it's not like they're obese.
No, they're usually in pretty good
They're
shape.
shaped guys. A lot of them are
I think
military.
I think part of the reason is because those planes have weight limits.
Yeah.
So if you hire a guy who's 350 pounds,
Hey.
that's another 150, 200 pounds,
You
or
can't have a
that's
seat.
150 pounds that you can't have on your plane.
Well, I'm pretty certain the cockpits are pretty cockpits. Are
No,
pretty tight.
yeah, well that too.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm saying like the whole weight of the plane.
No, I understand.
As a matter of fact, I just heard them talking about it the other day where they're saying they need to start looking into different ways in America because we're all fat here on how they can get the weights down in airplanes.
Yeah, cut the passengers.
Yeah, that's pretty much what's going to
Lose
happen.
more luggage.
But
or they'll charge you more.
I think if you're a fighter pilot, I think you can't be above like 6'5", and you can't be below like 5'10", or something like that. You have to be.
Sorry, Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Well, he can put those heels on. He wears.
Yeah.
What do they call them? The shoes with the lifts.
Platform.
Platforms.
Yeah, platform with the lifts.
Yeah.
But no, there was 4 British Airways employees that died, and they said it had nothing to do with the vaccine.
Absolutely nothing.
I mean, I can see out of 4, maybe 1 wasn't. But how's that happen? 4 men in their middle age
Just from the same company.
for the same company, and that HR. How about that HR lady?
Oh, she said she was from the oil and gas industry.
Oil, I think it was like Hammer Jacks
No,
or something.
I don't think she said. She just said I work for a major oil and gas company.
Yeah, she said. Well, no, I looked her up and I saw.
Okay.
I looked her up and found out what company she worked for. It's a firm that helps
Recruit.
recruit and get laborers for oil rigs. And she said all the CEOs she deals with says within the next 3 years
3 years.
they're looking to replace all their employees that have
Taking the vax.
taken the vaccine, not taking the vax, but taking the vax.
Taking the vax.
She said she was talking
Don't
to
say not.
not,
Yeah,
not.
you can't do a double.
Sorry, not
Double negative. That means it's
I'm a double
positive.
negative. But she was talking to some of the people she was dealing with, the CEOs and stuff, and like their HR departments on the phone. It's like some of these guys were like almost in tears,
Yeah.
writing down names of their buddies that might not
Be around.
be around in 3 years
Or be able to work.
or be able to work, or hey, I don't know, allegedly
Allegedly.
be around.
Round it up. Jeez, they're making notes and taking names. Like
Yeah.
they were not like they were going to round up.
She said they were
the
going
Jews.
through their personnel files
And seeing
and
who's
like
vaccinated.
writing down who got vaccinated.
And they're planning on probably a percentage of them not being there.
No.
That's what she said.
I'm good.
Now, this could be, she was on TikTok, so,
Yeah.
but I did look her name up, and her name comes up, and it comes up under that firm, unless it was all made up and it was all a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
But
could be.
it could be, but that was, I mean, that's another story. It was on some major news outlets as well.
Well, in correlation with that, I pulled it. Yeah, correlation. I used it earlier today. That's the only reason I remember it.
You pulled it off your calendar of words to use.
Word of the day calendar. There was the Zero Hedge article from Monday where thousands of women report period problems potentially tied to COVID.
Allegedly.
And it says, the UK vaccine watchdog is closely monitoring the claims that 4,000 women have suffered period problems.
This was in Britain, correct?
Yep.
And then
so,
go ahead.
Well, heavier than usual.
Heavy flow. Actually, you should know what that is.
Here's like a screenshot of some of the things that were reported on their site. No period, terrified, Pfizer. Period stopped after AstraZeneca. Anyone else? No period after both Pfizer shots. My period changed. Got Pfizer and my period hasn't stopped. I'm on day 15.
Wow.
So, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, where we were like, where we said, what were we talking about? I know we talked about
the story we got that said that there were women that were working with.
Oh yeah, women who got the
vaccinated,
shot.
And they also had the same problems as the other women.
Right.
This was in America,
mm-hmm.
and this was like 4 weeks ago. So we already talked about this. This was already news here. Now it's happening over there.
Yeah, or it's been happening over there. It's just now coming out.
Right, and the same thing they said here is the same thing they said there. There's no correlation.
Yeah, there's no evidence.
No evidence to the COVID vaccine.
Here's the thing: in a court of law, right? Here's evidence. So let's say 20 people, something happens to 20 people, right? And all 20 of those people only have one thing in common. That's pretty damn good to convince a jury of 12.
It's like
hey, I saw if 20 people stand in front of you and you're like, yep, I saw that guy out of those 5 standing there. I saw that dude, number 3. You going to jail, dude.
He said he ran.
Screwed.
I saw him running out of the house. All 20 people.
Right.
Yeah, you ran out of that house.
Right.
That's the way it
was. Now we're talking about 4,000 plus saying, hey, I got these issues only after I got that shot, not before it. I wish they listed their ages to see, like, is it like mid-20s?
They did say in the article, I think it was between 30 and 40, like 45.
So, yeah. So you're already at your age. You're already at, like, peak. Mm-hmm. You're starting to hit your peak of
right. Well, I think
reproduction.
Probably in your late 40s you would hit menopause or whatever.
I'm thinking everybody under that, like that Utopia show, they're just not
fertile.
Not fertile.
Right. They might.
So, which brings us back almost full circle to a couple episodes ago, where what did I say our blood was going to be?
Oh, it was going to
be
new
Bitcoin. The new Bitcoin, our blood. But maybe if the people who don't get the shots, your semen will be the new Bitcoin, and your blood will be like Dogecoin.
Well, I guess so.
Well, they didn't.
Go ahead.
You'll have to get the women who didn't get.
Well, their eggs. The women's eggs will be Bitcoin.
I'm going to get vaccinated.
Well, say you're a woman that you didn't get vaccinated, and you're in your early 20s, and then you meet a guy who was vaccinated. You guys get married. You're going to need. Or vice versa.
Or in that show where they were like, you pass it on, so it's passed on.
Through your DNA, or like through birth.
Through birth.
Well, how are you going to have birth after this?
Well, yeah, I know.
Well, if she can,
but if I can carry, like we are not vaccinated in my house, so we could still have a baby. So that baby would be okay. But if 2 people got vaccinated, according to the show,
it would not be good.
It would pass it on to the child, so they can't have kids
if they were able to have children.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but. It don't matter.
So maybe that's the goal of the World Economic Forum and the WHO and the Build Back Better and all that. Like maybe that's what their goal is, dude. Climate change, cow farts, cow burps.
Yeah.
Which I do have some notes today on, like some cattle ranching and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Because the price of beef is going up.
Right. Well, everything's going up.
But what else? How much more stuff you got on?
I don't think I have any more else on COVID.
I did want to say too that during we were playing Punch Face there, where she makes it a point to say the rural areas
yes.
and the non-vaccinated.
Republican.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, if you live outside, because if you live outside of a big city, if you look at an electoral map,
right?
So, blue being the Democrat, red being the Republican, especially in PA, like the Democrats win like 4 counties. Everything else is red. Right. So what she's trying to say is red equals rural. You're a hillbilly. You don't really trust anything. And, which you shouldn't. You shouldn't trust them at all.
I should know.
Which, later on, I got some stuff to talk about.
Well, I think you're going to find out at the end of this that the rural community,
or the smart ones,
well, and African American communities are going to be the 2 communities that were the ones that didn't get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Because the African American community say, "Hey, remember when they did all this other stuff to us? Maybe we shouldn't listen to them."
Let us have a syphilis.
Yeah, remember when they told us they were going to treat us for syphilis if we come into this thing, and then they just gave us more?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should probably stay away from them guys. They told us we were free but wouldn't let us vote. The Democrats ran around in white hoods and lynched us.
Well, if you want to call that smart or just being a human being.
Yeah.
Like noticing what's around you every once in a while.
Right.
But yeah. Well, I have a little thing here. The CDC delays emergency meeting to discuss heart inflammation because of the Juneteenth. This will probably.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
This will probably move us away from COVID here because of the Juneteenth a little bit. But why would
So the article, I believe, is that they were finding heart inflammation in kids,
younger people.
I think
it was like from their 20s, mid-20s to the younger.
Okay, they
were that soccer player
up to 12. Because I think anything under 12, you're not getting the vaccine.
So it's like 12 to like their mid-20s. Remember that soccer player?
Oh yeah, he fell over dead.
I don't know if he died.
No, they brought him back.
Oh.
Apparently they had said that dude was dead right there, but they worked on him and got him back.
But it probably wasn't. I mean, that guy in his condition, he probably fell over dead because he wasn't healthy.
Eric Goff or something.
Yeah, he probably
wasn't healthy running up and down the soccer pitch. Did you see me pull that European word out? Huh?
Well, soccer, you don't hardly run in soccer, so you're probably pretty bad shape.
Yeah, you're pretty bad shape. Like the fat first baseman, DH.
Yeah.
In American baseball.
Yeah.
But, so he...
Cecil Fielder.
Oh, yeah.
Cecil Fielder. Or what was the catcher for the Pirates back in the day?
Pudge. No, not Pudge.
Spanky.
Spanky LaValliere. Yeah. But Spanky LaValliere outran Barry Bonds' arm.
No, that was Sid Bream.
Oh, Sid Bream. He was the other fat.
He wasn't fat. His legs, his feet were broke when he ran. He outran Barry Bonds' 17 hopper from left field.
Yeah, and I just want to say to Barry Bonds, I know you're listening.
Yeah.
My uncle, my co-host's dad, had us tickets to the freaking World Series that year. And all you had to do was listen to Andy Van Slyke and move over 5 steps. And you would have been right there to catch that ball and end the freaking game. And I would have got to go to the World Series. So thank you.
With that said, he's probably the greatest baseball player we've ever seen.
Well, I'd be great, too, if I would have started shooting roids.
Let's not go, Bruce.
No, listen.
Oh, look at him. He was thin as hell.
Barry Bonds was 186 pounds in Pittsburgh, right? He was still one of the greatest hitters to ever step foot on that field.
Right.
But when he got off the plane in San Francisco and he was like 225.
It wasn't that year. It was 4 years in.
And like he started hitting like 450-foot bombs. Yes, like what people don't understand is it's not all like you still have to be a good hitter to hit the baseball, even if you're on steroids. It doesn't matter. But what it allowed him to do is he got into his 30s.
He could recover.
Yes, because playing 160 games in like 200 nights beats the crap out of you.
I know that. I get all the roles, guys. But he didn't start really juicing until after that 70 home run seasons.
But what I also said was, all those dudes had to do was come out and tell the truth.
Right.
This wasn't banned.
Right.
I was allowed to do this in the off season.
But the thing is,
like A-Rod could have come out and said, "Hey, when I went back to my home in the
Portuguese or something.
And down in South America, I did steroids, which were legal. They were over the counter. I recovered. I got healthy. That's all they had to do. Just be honest. But you mean to tell me the Barry Bonds, who paid his own personal nutrition to make sure he was getting the right stuff into his body, didn't go, hey, I know you're shooting that needle into me right now. What is that, dude? Come on. Just be honest. It was all what they should have come out. If I was a player, I would have come out and said, ask the owners, ask the commissioner. He's the one who's let this go on. Yeah. Why? Because hitting 70 home runs brings people, their butts, into the seats.
Well, they needed it after that year they shut down. And
Yeah.
they had, remember that Sammy Sosa and
Mark McGwire
year?
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
take-
you gotta remember Sammy Sosa only hit like 22 home runs his high year.
Let's take the biggest steroid.
Hold on, wait, where do we go from?
I don't know.
I don't know, but I like it. Let's keep going.
All right, we'll talk a little sports.
We'll take a little sports here and then we'll go back. But let's take the 5 steroid guys out of here. We got the biggest steroid guys. We got Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, A-Rod. Who's another big one?
There was
Canseco. Jose Canseco.
No. Well, Canseco was out before all that stuff. Who was the dude that played for Baltimore? He was a pretty boy.
Brady Anderson.
Yes, Brady. Remember, he had that one year like 60 homers.
Right. But we'll take those guys. You got Sammy Sosa was a journeyman, never could do anything until he took steroids. Mark McGwire probably hit 20 home runs.
He probably hit in the 30 homers. He was always a big dude.
He was a bigger dude, but nowhere near the hitting capacity he did on he was on steroids.
Oh no, absolutely not. They all hit better when they were on.
Well, sure, of course.
Because you recovered.
A-Rod was the only one I can argue was still as good as he was. He was
Except we don't know because was he doing it early in his career?
He did it early. I think he was early.
Because remember, he was hitting a ton in Texas, and then he came to New York, didn't hit shit.
Right. Well, Barry Bonds didn't start taking steroids, so I don't think he wasn't crushing like 40 home run seasons, 50 home run seasons until after that 70 home run season.
No.
I'm telling you, you can look at the stats.
No.
Pull him up, Ashley.
I remember back in like 2000, ESPN magazine.
Well, he's 400, isn't he? He's the only guy to have 400 home runs, 400 steals.
Maybe. You might be right. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he is. But the thing about that, he wasn't that jacked up. He's still on bases, still in his 30s.
Okay, so back to my point.
I know. He cheated.
No,
base.
I don't care. He didn't really cheat because it wasn't against the rules.
No, I don't care if they shot up right on the home plate.
I would love to have seen Randy Johnson on steroids throwing 109 miles an hour. I mean, he literally hit a bird
and
exploded, dude. Imagine if he was throwing 107.
The only real pitcher they came out against was Roger
Clemens, because he pitched, I think it was 40s.
Yeah.
And he was still really good.
He was good.
But, like...
That's because he jammed his arm in ice buckets.
Yeah.
That was one of his workouts. He, punched...
But I always said... Remember, who was the fat dude to pitch for the Yankees?
Wells.
Yeah, remember he came out and was like, he was on cocaine and, whiskey, dude.
he
I was drunk and snorted coke before the game.
I think he did coke before he pitched his no-hitter.
His no-hitter in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But...
It was like Doc... What's his name?
Doc Ellis.
Ellis, that's it.
He was an LSD, though, wasn't he?
No, and then Doc Gooden...
Doc Ellis was on LSD when he pitched.
Gooden,
he did great.
I think Doc Gooden for the Mets. Remember, I think he was the one who slid head first because he had cocaine in his back pocket.
Yeah,
I remember reading the story. Allegedly.
He was so high on coke, he missed the World Series parade. But he was at some lady's house. He's all wired out.
Right. So anyway, I was going to say, I think it was ESPN magazine.
Well, before you get too far, that's people always oh, these guys are cheating with steroids. You don't think doing blow in a 160-game season is not cheating?
Oh, yeah, because you wake up in the morning, do some blow, go play baseball.
Yeah, you don't get up, I'm tired, I'm sore.
Yeah, right.
Rubbing it on his teeth, smashing home runs.
Yeah. Well, just being alert, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's
entertaining.
The ball's like a beach ball.
Yeah. But ESPN, I think it was ESPN magazine did an all-time great. And I was mad because Canseco was listed as a first baseman, and I was a huge Mattingly. Or not Canseco, McGwire.
So he was an outfielder. Remember the ball hit off his head?
Yeah, dude. He was probably high on speed, dude.
He's on greenies.
But I remember I emailed ESPN and I was like, dude, how's Mattingly not on this?
Yeah,
like,
he's great.
Mattingly led American League for like 6 freaking straight years. He still has the highest like defensive percentage of any first baseman. It's like 997, dude. Point 997, which means 0.3 balls got past him as a first baseman.
He wasn't a big power guy. I mean,
He won batting. He won 3 batting titles, 2 home run titles. Like, he was a freaking beast, but he played on crappy Yankee teams.
That was a bad Yankee years.
And then he got hurt. He hurt his back and had to retire early. Dude, but Donnie Baseball, I would take him 10 times over Mark McGuire's 1 season of 65 home runs.
See, this is where we're getting at. My favorite player when I was growing up was Barry Bonds, and Brad's is Donnie Baseball.
But I had Barry Bonds' autograph that I got at a Pirate game.
No, Bob.
I had both of them. I had Benia's
Notre Dame.
and no, it was a Pitt Panthers.
Oh, Pitt
hat.
Panthers hat.
And I think my brother has that. I think I gave it to my brother.
I remember when were you there that night when Andy Van's leg wasn't signed a kid's autograph?
Nah, I might have been because I mean I was at all them games.
It was. I know for sure it was me, our Uncle Mason.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh yeah,
My
with the
dad.
hot chick in the parking lot.
My dad.
Well, let's go into that one.
My dad. And there was I think our cousin Chris was there. So we're outside the autographs. Like when you used to go to the Three River Stadium, the players' lot was like outside. It wasn't underneath the stadium. Like all the new stadiums, they put all the players.
Yeah.
Because they don't want any fans to have any fun. Like kids can't.
Yeah.
Because I used to love it. We'd go out there and stand afterwards, and you watch every player come out and walk in the car. When you're like 9 years old, it's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
So we're waiting there, and it was a playoff game, and he struck out to lose the game. Like, there was a guy on second, and they were down by 1, I think.
And he just had to hit.
Oh, he struck out, okay?
Oh, pitcher.
He's a loser. Andy Vance, like, Brad liked him. He's
Well, Brad also likes
Donnie Baseball.
Donnie
He had a nice
Baseball.
mustache. Broom. So,
Yes.
so he comes out, and he walks past all these little kids. Brad was probably there. We were like 7, 8, 9 years old. He walked past all these kids, wouldn't sign one of our shirts or anything, or balls. Walks up to this 20-year-old girl, signs her shirt, like right above her breast.
Her boobie.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was there for that.
And my Uncle Mason and my dad and them were over there, and I think it was Chris Uncle Mason, were like, "You're a bum, you're a loser," and yelling at him. And he was like, "I'm going to kick your ass." And they're like, "Come on, jump over that fence." He goes to jump over the railing, and the security guards grab a hold of him. And I'm looking at whoever's beside
I wasn't there.
I'm looking at whoever's beside me. I was like, "Oh, man, I don't know who those guys are."
Yeah.
But the thing he didn't know, if he jumped over that fence, he was
getting pumped.
Oh, he was getting his ass.
Because I can tell you right now. Remember the time we're at the gun range shooting in our deer rifles at a local gun range.
Yeah.
And some dude comes up. It was like me, you, Pap, your
dad.
dad. I don't know. It might have just been us 4.
I think it was just us 4.
And some dude comes up and he's like, "I need to see your passes to be here." And like Pap said something to him because like Pap was like a lifetime member.
Yeah.
And he starts running his mouth. Like your dad like chases him down.
Well,
like
he bumped into Pat with his chest.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he bumped Pat.
Yeah.
Then your dad, dude, like it was like a flick of a switch, dude. Like your dad went running after that dude ran away.
He
Like
had him like pinned against the beam. Like the pillar that holds the wooden thing up. He had him pinned against it like by his neck.
right.
And like Pat's grabbing his arm so he wouldn't punch him.
Yeah,
in the
so he
face.
didn't hit him.
And then he left him go and he ran off.
Yeah.
And
So there was that time.
Did you ever go back to that range?
yeah.
And
Well,
then
the cops came. We're driving home. The cops passed me.
Yeah.
My dad's like, "I'm going back. I'm telling my story."
yeah.
And we drove back up, and he told the cops, and they're like, "Whatever. This is bad. This is like the
Yeah, this is like the
90s.
late 80s, early
It
90s.
was a different time."
And then the other time I remember because we used to go to Pirate games all the time.
Yeah.
But I remember I shaved my head one year. Right? So I looked like a cancer patient. I did. It was bad. Like, it was straight, like, bicked.
Yeah.
And I remember this dude had this really nice, like, Andy Van Slyke jersey. And your dad was like, "I'll give you $5 if you go over and pretend you're a cancer patient and see if that guy will give you his jersey." Right? I'm probably like 12, 13. So I tried it. Dude wouldn't give it to me.
What a nice guy, huh?
Yeah, right. So I think I was like, I'm over here from Pittsburgh Hospital, like Children's Hospital. We're here on a
You
thing.
probably looked at who you walked over from.
Yeah.
3 adult males in a drunk. Holding nachos,
Jesus.
watching them eating nachos.
Yeah. So to this day, dude, your dad can still slide a 20 in a dude's hand to get better seats. Better than anybody I'll ever. Like, I'll never be able to match that. Like, he could tuck that 20 or 50 or whatever he was giving the dude into the usher's hand in the 3rd inning. And get us, we'd be sitting like on the dugout. He literally gets on top of the dugout.
We'd be sitting up, we'd be like on the 3rd level, and he'd look down and be like, oh, look, there's 4 seats. It's like the 4th inning, down by the first baseline.
Yeah.
We're like, let's go down. So he's like, we'll just carry drinks down. So we all go down and sit down. Like, every once in a while, they won't even check us.
No,
And then sometimes they come down, and then they just like, whatever. And I, like you said, he probably slipped the money. But we're sitting like 3 rows off the first baseline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could like.
That was the old Three Rivers.
Yeah, that was great.
Old Three Rivers, yeah. All right. So I think this is a good transition point. We talked a little baseball.
Hey,
back in the heyday of the Pirates.
that's where we
could
got the
actually
name of
cheered for.
That's where we got the name of the show. This Week in Baseball. This Week in Conspiracy.
This Week in Conspiracy. The Green Weenie. And well, I think it's a good plug for what we're enjoying here while we talk.
Well, I mean, clearly, I've been drinking some Mickey O'Shea's Irish vodka. As you can tell, I've been a bit more chatty.
I know you look, and you look like the Flame On guy from the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I had a whole
Flame On.
I had a whole
Nope, just
Yeti filled.
Just Mickey O'Shea's
Big Irish vodka.
Irish vodka.
It's probably the best vodka I've ever had.
Yeah.
And, I've looked. I don't think there is many Irish vodkas. Maybe one. And it's like a high-end one. This one is good price. And it's
smooth.
It's smooth. It's probably one of the best vodkas I've ever had.
Like, you could drink it straight.
Mm-hmm.
This is low shelf prices, top shelf flavor. Mickey O'Shea's, the official vodka of This Week in Conspiracy.
It's the best thing to happen to potatoes since the famine.
Mickey O'Shea's, dude, I love it. It's great.
That's a great drink.
Yeah.
We're, about an hour, I think, Ashley?
Hour and 6,
we've done
yeah.
I think we should try to cut it down a little bit.
We've
We
done
did
some marathons.
2-hour ones.
Yeah, let's see if we can shut it down a little bit
Yeah.
early, maybe cut it back a little bit so people can actually listen to the whole damn thing.
Right.
Plus, people don't want to hear us talk for 2 hours. I mean, it was
I know.
fine when we had a third
I mean,
guest.
my wife doesn't even want me to talk for 2 hours in a day.
No, it's more like when we had Jim on, it was more interesting. He was, filling us with information. We're
Yeah.
just rambling.
We got a little Mickey O'Shea last week,
Yeah.
and we talked a little longer.
I think I went off a couple times. I don't even know what the hell I was even talking about. I was talking about truck drivers and stuff.
Yeah. Your body. Truck drivers and heavy equipment mechanics.
Yeah.
Let's plug our shit.
Okay, yeah, let's do, we got our Instagram. It's This Week in Conspiracy. So get on there and we put up, our news clips that we talk about every week. We put them all up.
Wait. Stop. Because we forgot to do a shout out this week.
Oh,
You know what? We'll wait until next week.
Okay,
We'll do the shout out next week.
sure. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. But we got, we put our news up there and we put it up there. If you want, just DM us, follow us, like us,
it.
share it with people, please. Get us some listeners.
we
And
follow back.
We follow back. I'm a follow backer. We're follow back girls.
Ain't no follow back, girl.
Then we got our email, thisweekinconspiracy@gmail, which I'd like to see an email. That'd be great. That'd make my year.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
And then we have This Week in Conspiracy on Facebook, which just follows our same Instagram stuff, kind of. It has all our news and our memes and stuff that are funny. And we have a Twitter.
_conspiracy. Join those 4 followers of ours.
Yeah.
We follow back
We'll
there,
start an
too.
army. We'll start an army, man.
Yeah. Let's
The
do it.
Mohawk army.
The Hawks.
The Hawks. Me and Brad have Mohawks. They're male pattern baldness Mohawks. And the-
Rogaine with minoxidil.
The same thing. The worst part is the blonde hair too Mohawks. Like, no, I
Yeah.
don't have blonde hair, but
That's pretty blonde.
It
We
looks-
have played for blonde.
it looks thinning.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help. If we had jet black hair, it might look a little better.
Yeah.
But that was this week, so I think we had a pretty good show. And remember, Go to your small local businesses. That helps everybody.
Yeah, local.
Stay local and have a nice week, and God bless.
God bless.